Shmoo Daddy streaming experience. I'm your host, as per usual, Shmoo Daddy. In case the first time you're watching the stream, the VOD or the video on YouTube, I'm a monthly Hearthstone Wild Legend player who typically hits Legend first of the month, and after that goofs off. And when I goof off, I play your decks. And it's worth noting that as I speak to you on today, December the 1st, 2024, I am in fact in Legend. Came in at 34 with Barnes Druid. So what I want to do tonight before I start playing is I want to address what I suggest you all to climb with if you also quest for early Legend in our wild format. Decks I would start with. First and foremost, I would start with the best deck in our format of Wild, by my estimation, extra large Shadow Priest. You might ask yourself, why is an aggro deck extra large? The extra 10 health and the quality of cards that you can stick in this deck mean that we are not actually dropping in any quality. This is reflected by, if you look at, pay attention to stats on HS Guru, this build of the deck versus the 30. We're talking about anywhere from 6 to 9 percentage points as far as how much better it is win rate wise. That's kind of nuts. Especially into the mirror, this deck absolutely slaughters. You can get AoE through Mixologist. The Ethereal Oracles are nutty for getting a holds of Acupunctures or where are they? The Mind Seers. And getting you extra value while also having some nutty synergy where you can actually Mind Seer your own Oracle and then bring it back with Raise Dead and then, Mind Seer something else and swing it around. So, yeah, you probably should be playing extra large Shadow Priest. It's probably the best deck in the format. Agency is a little bit out the window. You obviously need to draw well in order to do well with any aggro deck. But if you're going to play something to climb, I would suggest first and foremost you try this. The second thing I would suggest, which I used specifically in a 11x climb, is Barnes Druid, Ysayle Druid. I have become, since the nerf of the funnel cake, Capture Cold Tooth Mind Pilled. Oddlaw played this in his list. I wanted to be derisive of it. I wanted to say, I don't like this. I wanted to not like this card in the list. And since he kind of showed me that, well, it always gets your ultimate infestations, or mostly he was using it to go grab the Innervate, which is like running a coin, especially if you can tutor it, for the pop-off turn on 5, so that Barnes has enough mana to play Sleep Under the Stars, and then you go and do the thing. I like this. I like this a lot. Went 30 and 21 with it today. Pretty sure I threw at least 5 games. I could have cut down my climb by 10 games or more if they were timed correctly. Deck is very good. Deck is decent enough in a Shadow Priest that it's not an auto lose. If they start fast, you do have the ability to swipe down their board to kind of buy yourself a little bit of time, or don't sleep on Malfurion's Gift into Feral Rage for armor to buy a little bit of extra time, especially if you have a Solar Eclipse. You can do like a little mini Reno before you pop off and do the Barnesy thing. Sometimes you just are faster than them, and you just Barnes, and they die. Absolutely farms Seedlock, which is worth noting. So does the Shadow Priest, in case I didn't mention that before. And just Seedlock feels free unless they're running some sort of Tech W. Shadow Priest is not unwinnable. Very good into other slower decks. Solid deck choice at the moment. Pure Paladin. This is a strong enough board-based deck that I could absolutely suggest it. Games are kind of fast. Farms Seedlock. Decent into Shadow Priest. You're not super happy to see them, but you have tools like Glow Stick and bodies that just sort of stick around to trade favorably. Interstellar Slicer on the coin kills a Void Touch Attendant. You've got some options to survive into aggro while also still providing a threat on your own. Worth noting, Tom plays 4 mana Cariel instead of the Crusader Aura. I like the Crusader Aura. I'm keeping the Crusader Aura. Brand new deck that you wouldn't necessarily expect. Very good at the moment. Holy Wrath Paladin. 30 or 40 Holy Wrath Paladin. I'm going to feature the list that was used against me in THL by Hudak. Hudak got it from his THL teammate Hearthstone Dragon. It is a 30 list. It's not running 2 copies of Holy Wrath Paladin, but then again, do you ever really need a second? You're usually only getting 1, and this particular list is running Hi-Ho Silver to go and get it. Once you do get it, discount it with Holy Cowboy, and then pair it up with Lord Keeper Polkelt to go nuts. This is also running some dredge cards, so you can kind of just sort of dredge the Ceaseless Expanse and get it all tuned up so that you could just Holy Wrath it whenever you have enough mana to do so. We're also running O Manager to generate some coins so that you could also do that at your leisure. Robocaller, pretty good draw engine. Grillmaster into Finley means that you're sending the Ceaseless Expanse to the bottom of your deck, and you can kind of finagle things from there. Big Shaman is Big Shaman. Play this. Watch Netflix. Catch up on Arcane. It's good into Shadow Priest. It's fine into other things. I think the only other deck that I wanted to highlight was actually Reno Paladin. Good anti-aggro tools, yellow cards, Holy Wrath combo to finish things off. Looks good. This is a combination of a list that Corbett made, plus I added the Uther OTK because I really like the Uther OTK in Reno Paladin, and I like the alternate win cons. And yeah, this is a lot of fun. This is a good control deck. If you like stuff that's a little bit more dirtily, Lumia absolutely solo Seedlocks because they play mass productions and they only get credit for 1. Meanwhile, you have a 6 mana 9/9 lifesteal, absolute fucking shithouse to smack them in the face with, and gain back some health that you lost, as well as again board clears and control tools. One deck I will not feature as something that I would suggest to climb with early in the month, especially in the month of December, is Seedlock. Seedlock is a deck that is warping our format. I think with the addition of Hearthstone, you find, at least I find, the charm of the deck existing has always been it is high risk and high reward. You can cut real deep and put yourself in a vulnerable position, but you're gambling on the fact that your opponent doesn't have it that will punish you. And the current version just has completely erased that difficulty hurdle. It doesn't actually matter because you can cut as deep as you want, and Hearthstone renos you right back up. And I have seen so much misplay and so much just sort of risk-ignorant play behind the Seedlock deck that I'm okay with it getting deleted. I think it absolutely keeps people away from the format. I think it over-polices at this particular moment what I would call Renathal Reno piles that honestly make up the tapestry that is Wild, that keep people playing, that are, if I'm completely honest, kind of fun to play in of themselves. When those Reno tech piles exist, Wild's actually kind of okay because there's a lot of things that beat those decks, and there's a unique tapestry of things that can win in that scenario, and we just get more variety in the format, and there's less and less variety in the format, I think, because of Seedlock. But all of that being said, I don't know how good a deck Seedlock really is. When it's all finally come to account, and you start totaling up win rates and how things sort of play into the meta, it wouldn't shock me if Seedlock is top tier 2, and that's it. It's super frustrating. The stat dump turns are degenerate, but like we have some sophisticated clears in the format that kind of take it out. It's more along the lines of there are no burst decks that can effectively police it anymore. Something like hand buff Paladin was always favored into Seedlock because as deep as they would cut, eventually there was a moment where they got themselves too low going into the Tamsin dropping turn, and you could sort of tempo charger them either in 1 or 2 turns, and that just doesn't exist anymore. Reno decks, like something like Reno DH, a class that is very good at coming up with damage and burst from hand, could sort of effectively police Seedlocks because, you know, they cut too deep, they leave themselves vulnerable, and you just sort of pop them in the face when they're not expecting it. That just doesn't happen anymore because of Hearthstone. I don't think banning Hearthstone does enough. I think it's just a Band-Aid on the problem. I think reality-wise, you have to address Seedlock on a more permanent basis, whether you're looking at the quest reward itself, or Glare. You can either have the inevitability of all the damage that you're taking for the rest of the game forever, polices Reno decks, or you can have the stat dump. And you can combine that all with Hearthstone. But I don't think you can have all of that whole package together and have a healthy deck that's good for the format. I'm really torn on this too, because I think we're very close to bitching for the sake of bitching and not for the overall health of the format. The fact that Holy Wrath is back, I don't have an inherent problem with, but some people will complain about it and say that it's bad card design, it's bad gameplay. I don't necessarily disagree, but the more and more we ask for changes of the devs of a format that they really don't want to spend too much time on, the more we see maybe a move towards ignoring Wild entirely as opposed to making these incremental fixes in which they've made. It's been a complete meme that the devs don't care about Wild and the devs never judge Wild, never adjust Wild. Considering that, think about just this cycle of expansions alone. We've seen Quest Mage deleted, we've seen Sork changed, we've seen Radiant Elemental changed, we've seen Secret Passage changed. Before that, we've seen Pillager Rogue changed. The devs are absolutely paying attention to Wild and absolutely adjusting it, despite making noises otherwise. So, like, get that out of your head that they're not paying attention to what's happening while they're not adjusting what's happening to Wild. They just might not be adjusting it to the speed that you'd like to see. But it's the same speed that they adjust standard at. They only do X number of patches. They only open Pandora's box to change the client as much at certain increments. And if they change it more than that, you see more shit break. This patch has been an absolute disaster for performance. The client is a fucking toaster right now. And is like, there's disconnects, there's pauses, there's freezes. I move my decks around and the fucking client takes a minute to think about things. And the devs know that, and they know it's a disaster. But it's a 10-year-old client, and they're doing their best to sort of wrap things up and improve performance as best they can. So just keep all of that in mind. You can't just go in and just shake things up whenever they want to, especially in this client. They have windows in which to do it. And I expect Seedlock to be addressed. I think once Seedlock is addressed, immediately afterwards, the next fucking nanosecond afterwards, people are going to be like, okay, well, how about Holy Wrath now? And that might also be something that we have to address. Right now, 30 Holy Wrath, Reno Holy Wrath, looks like it could be tier 1 in stats. The thing about the Reno deck is, like, they're doing the Holy Wrath combo, but they're doing the Holy Wrath combo turn 7, 8, 9. The game in Wild's typically ending at that point anyway. I don't really find that egregious. I've been high-rolled by the 30 Holy Wrath on turn 5. If that's happening every game, that's something that needs to be addressed. If that's happening on a high roll because, for whatever reason, Overplanner's good in that deck, I can kind of live with that. I can hate it, but I can kind of live with that. It's not a super popular deck anyway. It's not something you're seeing every game. Like Tom Carter is saying in my chat as we speak, Seedlock is 20% of the meta in some ranks. That has to get addressed. So anyway, if you're going to climb with a deck in the new meta, in the new month, the month of December 2024, I would suggest extra large aggro priest, Barnes Druid, some form of pure paladin. I think they're all pretty good. I think some of the non-pure builds are actually, truthfully, probably pretty good too. I just think pure is a little bit more consistent. Non-pure is a little bit more high rolly, where when the non-pure works, it's gas. When it doesn't work, it's like, ugh. So I'd go for the more consistent paladin deck. Holy Wrath Paladin. I'm not saying this is the perfect 30, but this is probably fine. Big Shaman is fucking Big Shaman. And again, some sort of Reno Holy Wrath Paladin. You choose your own adventure. Pick which cards that go in. Just make sure you don't forget the important ones. That's also probably pretty good too, because it's been great into Glare, very good into Shadow Priest, and has some tools to deal with the combo. Seedlock does not make my list because I don't think it's very good early in the month. I think it's more of a polarizing deck that has shaped the meta around it, and now things are starting to feed on it. So I hope those decks work for you, and if you enjoyed this content, please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing to the YouTube channel. All right, let's go farm on Free You.